Time to shoot the rock. This is the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN 102.7 FM, AM 1450, AM 1230, and streaming live on ESPNKY.com. Your weekly double-barrel dose of the biggest names, best products, and most intriguing topics in the world of firearms. Brought to you by Hilux Optics, Swagger by Pods, Shoot with Confidence, J&K Used Cars on the Bypass, and Mohawk Outdoors. In pursuit of liberty, justice, and all things guns. Here are your hosts, Nick and Nate Noble.
Welcome back to the Rockcastle Gun Show. It's Nick Noble, your host. Nate is on assignment in Eastern Kentucky hunting the great wapiti, the North American elk. And he's over there with some clients. He's having a tough time over there, actually, because the elk are not bugling. Kentucky, if you didn't know and you're listening from anywhere in the world to all over the United States, Kentucky has become one of the just a really big success story in terms of the reintroduction of elk about 12 to 15 years ago. We got a huge herd here. They're monster animals. There was great genes brought in, and they're reproducing like crazy. You have to get in a lottery to actually get an elk tag in Kentucky, but that's where Nate is over there. He's sloughing off and hunting while we're here in the ESPN studios. It's Garrett Browning, our producer, and myself here at ESPN 102.7, the Rockcastle Gun Show, the only gun show on ESPN Radio. We're very proud of that, and we come to your airwaves each and every week, bringing the biggest and the best names in the firearms industry. We've got a really cool show tonight. We're going to talk to some of my favorite people. We're going to get off started in the first segment when we come back from break, talking to Bruce Davidson, who is the match director and a Rockcastle regular, but he's a match director for the Rock Hard, a three-gun competition, which is opening up for registration here in the next couple weeks, and Bruce will tell you about that, but it's one of the most physically challenging three-gun competitions in the country. It happens at Rockcastle Shooting Center, and it's part of the Hard as Hell series, which has got several. There's a blue line out in Missouri, which is emphasizes and makes money for law enforcement officers and some great charities to go with that. We got Hard as Hell out in Texas is a big one. We got Hard as Hell out in Utah, which they're actually finding a new range for, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, Rock Hard at Rockcastle Shooting Center. It's kind of a series in which you can actually become the series winner. You have to shoot in at least 3 of the 4, and it's really cool. Then we're going to have Mickey Petrovic, who is our match director for the USPSA, United States Practical Shooting Association. We have a pistol match up at the Rock every 4th Saturday, and we're going to get into some USPSA 101 and just some details about USPSA matches, because no matter where you're listening from, you can actually check something out. I'm sure they have something in your area and certainly your state where you can get into a monthly pistol match, and it's a great way to get into the firearms and shooting sports. And then our third segment is a dear friend, and I feel very lucky to have her on tonight. She's been on the show many times, but Diana Muller, we call her Lady Di. She spent over 2 hours today on Capitol Hill testifying under oath in front of the House Judiciary Committee as they try to ban AR rifles. And she was point on. She was incredible. We'll get into some of her testimony when we come back in our third segment around 6:35, 6:40 Central Standard Time, and it's going to be really big to have her on. I know she's very tired because it was a mentally draining. She was getting punches, and she was landing a lot of punches up there on Capitol Hill today. And as Second Amendment advocates, that's such a huge deal. And we're getting ready to get into this weekend. We have the USPSA match, the 4th Saturday of every month, and then the next weekend we have the A Girl and a Gun, their fall festival. We're going to have about 250 ladies come from all over the country and in several different foreign countries to come shoot 3-gun and a whole bunch of fun stuff. We featured them on a show a couple weeks ago, and but that's coming up in 2 weeks, so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But this is Nick Noble, ESPN Radio, 102.7, the Rockcastle Gun Show. Hey, Rockcastle Shooting Center is at Exit 48 on I-65. You can come up anytime. We're open to the public. Got pistol, rifle, archery ranges, long range out to 1,650 yards. You become a member as well. Cut down on some of your costs. We also have a hotel, a restaurant, a vineyard, a winery. We've got it all. So this is the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN Radio, and we'll be right back after these messages.
J&K Used Cars is the place to go when you need a quality automobile at an affordable price. Stop in at 670 on the Bypass in Bowling Green and see this week's special. A 2010 Toyota Highlander limited 4-wheel drive SUV comes with third-row seating, sunroof, pearl exterior, leather interior, sport wheels, and more, only $16,995. Hurry in because at that price it won't last long. J&K Used Cars with over 40 years of serving the community with affordable prices on quality automobiles. Visit J&K on the Bypass and online at jnkusedcars.com.
This is Nate from Rockcastle Shooting Center. Did you know that one of the premier shooting ranges in the world is right here in South Central Kentucky? Rockcastle Shooting Center has something for everyone's recreational shooting enjoyment. From 3D archery to our brand new sporting clays course, handgun ranges full of steel to targets out to a mile. There's no better place to get some trigger time than Rockcastle Shooting Center. Non-members are welcome, and memberships start at $150 per year. We offer a fantastic range of firearms training and education opportunities from the most basic to the most advanced. Come see us, exit 48 on I-65, Park City, Kentucky. Visit rockcastleshootingcenter.com.
Although hunting to most of us is much more than just harvesting animals, why not better your deer herd's health with Big & J Long Range Attractant? Big & J is highly digestible, high in protein, and isn't full of preservatives. With Big & J Long Range Attractants, you're not only exploiting one of the few whitetails have, their stomachs, but you're maximizing antler growth, improving overall herd health, and pulling deer from your neighbor's property. So whether your goals are to fill the freezer, kill mature bucks, or both, Big & J Long Range Attractants will stack the odds in your favor, all the while making your deer herd bigger and healthier.
Hey, it's Nick Noble with the Rockcastle Gun Show here. We're talking about Swagger bipods. Do you want just your average barrel rest, or do you want to shoot with some swagger? Introducing the Swagger bipods. They expand your shooting zone with Swagger, the all-terrain hunting bipod. After more than 100 years, finally shooters have a bipod with patented, flexible, hyper-extending telescoping legs that give you the agility like never before. So get rid of stiff legs and get the bipod with infinite maneuverability. Swagger, the bipod that moves.
From Gun Style, you're listening to ESPN, the Rockcastle Gun Show.
Everybody! Hey, you're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show. It's Nick Noble back on the airwaves. I'm solo tonight with our producer Garrett Browning in the house. And we're going to talk all things guns. We got a really cool show tonight. We're going to talk rock hard 3-gun. We're going to talk USPSA pistol. Then we're going to get into our good friend Lady Di, Diana Muller, who was on Capitol Hill today, testifying under oath in front of Congress in hostile territory about the AR weapons ban that they're proposing. We're going to see legislation coming through very soon on that, and we'll have Lady Di talk about that. But first, we're going to talk 3-gun with one of our favorite guys, Bruce Davidson, the match director for the Rock Hard, coming up this March. Bruce, what's up, brother?
Oh, just hanging out in wonderful Shelbyville tonight, working on match stuff.
Working on match stuff. Well, you know, Bruce Davidson is one of these brilliant minds, the beautiful minds that he shoots in all kinds of competitions. He wasn't in the match director mode until not too long ago, although he'd shot every kind of 3-gun competition that's ever been at Rockcastle and amongst others across the United States. But when you shifted gears and got in to be an MD, a match director, and you created this Rock Hard, this very difficult, very physical, very challenging, but one of the most creative matches that I've ever seen put on paper, and then more importantly put on the ground, because putting something on paper and that being translated to a shooting range is not always the same thing, and it's a difficult skill. Man, you're killing it, and the proof is in the pudding because your match sells out very quickly. You're part of the Hard as Hell series now. Tell us a little bit about the match in general.
Well, I tell you, when I first started out to be a match director, I really wanted to be something different. And that's not taking a poke at any other match. I'm in competitive shooting because I love competitive shooting. Came up through USPSA, started some 3-guns, shot a whole bunch of 3-gun matches, locals and majors. And I just didn't want to do another cookie cutter, another match. And I came from the experience of running another event. And so I took that experience, 10 years of running the largest airplane event at my house, and I wanted to do an event. So incorporating events into it means everything other than shooting. I look at how much time people have on site. If they're going to be there, they're going to stay in the lodge on the property. You know, we're going to shoot until 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Man, there's a lot of time left in the day, and I want to occupy that time. That's somewhat self-motivated or maybe selfish, because when I go to matches, I travel out of town, you finish early, and then what? You're just done. You just stand around and kick dirt and hang out. So I wanted to engage people for the duration of the event. And that means side matches, just whatever I could come up with to keep people engaged as long as we had fun.
Well, and I like the word event better than match, because the Rock Hard truly is an event, and you do engage these folks. Tons of side matches you can do, and then you've got things like the Pistol King and the Rifle King, and just all kinds of really cool things, which I would consider it a side match, but it's really another competition that's incorporated into the event, in addition to other sponsors and stuff bringing guns and doing different things like a typical side match. But then you incorporate all this really tough stuff too, and hence the name Rock Hard. That makes it a little bit more grueling, physically, mentally, round count. I mean, you can name the whole deal into it. That truly makes it as difficult as anything you'll see out there, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure why that's so appealing to me, because it's not like I'm a super physical fitness guy and I'm not the best shot around, but, man, I love being tested. I like being over-tested. It's very satisfying for me, not just to shoot a match, but to actually come away from a match knowing that I finished every stage, I engaged every target. It's quite an accomplishment. I think that, a lot of my drive as being a match director comes from being a middle-of-the-road competitor. I know what I like in matches, and I've always said, too, that the match is really designed for me. I think that's good for everybody, because as a match director, there is no way that I'm going to put this much time and energy into an event without participating myself. And that's something that I really look forward to it in all the months of planning, all the hours that I spend. It's a hobby for me just to tinker away at the match. All of that is a drive, because I want to put down the best product possible for me to shoot. And I truly love it. I shoot every single stage and just have a great time. I shoot all the side matches. And on top of all of that, the putting together this match, this event, something that I want to attend, something that I look forward to attending as much as I look forward to building for everyone else, is that I tied in that it's a charity match. So it's a nonprofit. I've always done this for Mission 22. All proceeds go to Mission 22. It's my 4th year coming up to do this match, and I've raised over $35,000 so far for that charity. And I want to keep on pushing that number and keep on raising for what a great charity.
Well,
so there's a lot of motivation.
Absolutely. And Mission 22, for folks that don't know, is an incredible organization. It was founded by one of my dear friends, Tom Spooner, former Delta Force A-Team leader. He was one of the driving forces, started Mission 22. But 22 veterans commit suicide every single day. That was yesterday, 22, today 22, and tomorrow is going to be 22. And Mission 22 is doing some incredible work, and the funds, over $35,000 that you've raised at this match, is huge. And I love how you incorporate the number 22 into the match, because
it makes it fun, doesn't it?
It sure does. So absolutely.
Every opportunity I get, I'll do 22 target arrays. If you're going to pull your pistol out, you're going to shoot at 22 targets. Same with rifle. I try to incorporate that into every stage as a reminder. We're in this for fun. There's personal motivation for us to accomplish this match, but we always need to keep right in front of the mind that we are doing this for something better. Every effort, all the giggles and all the fun and all the challenges that we have are really producing something that helps people that are out there on the tip of the spear. I love working 22 in. The biggest prizes that I offer in the match. It's not a prize table match, but I've got prizes. I've got stage winners, but I always like to pick the biggest awards, the nicest prizes, the coolest gifts, the shit that you really want goes to 22nd place, 22nd overall, 22nd on stages. And again, a little bit selfish, because it's the middle of the road guy. You know, the most average shooter in the match is going to get the most above average prizes, and I think that's fun.
No, I think that is fun, and I love how you tie all that in together. Now, I don't know if you're willing to disclose some of your crazy ideas that you've got for some of the stages coming up this March. You've shared some of them with me, but you always have a knack for finding crazy fun, and like you said, you developed this for yourself, and I'll tell you that's a true fact because Bruce is a lefty shooter. He's a southpaw, so he's got lefty's revenge is kind of the theme through the entire match. If you're a right-handed shooter, you're gonna get screwed by Bruce Davidson in this match, and he laughs and smiles and giggles the whole time. But you've also got you've had over the last couple of years, 3 years, you've had some incredible different stages you just don't see very often, and this year's going to be no exception.
No, it's not. You know, part of that is the wonderful facility that you've put out there for us to use. We've got such a great shooting area. We're not really confined by what we see at your average range. We're not shooting in bays. We're shooting in natural terrain, which has natural backstops. So as often as possible, I will push the shooting radius. 180 degrees, that's nothing. I'd like to push 200, 300 degrees. As a matter of fact, one of the stages this year, we will shoot 360 degrees.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking so forward to that. I mean, obviously safety second, right? Fun first. But honestly, safety's first. As a match director, every little detail has to be figured out, where people are, where trajectories are going. But if I can pull it off, if I can push us to shoot more than 180 degrees, 200, 360 degrees, I'm stoked about that. And you're right, I've shared some ideas with you. I'm not going to divulge everything, but I'll tell you that I'm teaming up with Jason from Innovative Targets. He is going to be a huge part of a stage in this year's match. He's always been a big part of the match, such a great helper. But I'll tell you that it's going to be a Mad Max theme, and that's as much as I'll divulge right now. It's going to be ridiculous.
Welcome to the Thunderdome. I like
Welcome to the Thunderdome, right? I've got another stage that's going to be called Tactical Tree Hugger. So that's going to be challenging. There's a stage that the working name is But Did You Die? Just to give you an idea of what you're looking for. It's inevitable that we're going to time out. You know, as a match director, I used to really, really hate the thought of anyone timing out on stages, but I think that's part of the challenge, right? I want to put these things out there that test everybody, and the accomplishment is getting to the last target. So there's going to be some real pushes and some serious time management that comes into play. You're going to have to think about what you do early in a stage to make sure that you get to the end of the stage. That's part of the Hard as Hell series, right? That's what we do. They are challenging.
Well, and what I love about this match, if you love to shoot a lot of rounds downrange, this match is the exclamation point on the end of anything like that. Because if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong, but the shooters in last year's Rock Hard at Rockcastle Shooting Center had more time on the clock than the other two Hard as Hell combined, maybe three combined. And so it's a huge round count, tons of pistol, tons of rifle, tons of shotgun, and anybody that's into competitive shooting and loves 3-gun, natural terrain 3-gun has just got to be foaming at the mouth for that.
Yeah, you're right. The not only was the winner's time longer than the other Hard as Hell matches, but longer than any other match in the country. So, you know, that's kind of a feather in my cap. I certainly like that. It's only a 6-stage match, which makes it even more incredible. In 6 stages, people have more time on the clock than they do at 9 and 12-stage matches. It's a long, tough thing. You will be on the clock. The best shooter in the United States will be on the clock for more than 3 minutes on every stage. I love to put those pro shooters, that was some air quotes that I threw up there. I love to put the pro shooters in the thought process of, can I make it without timing out? That's a pressure that they haven't seen since they were a freshman shooter. So it's fun for me. It's fun for them. I get great feedback from those guys. It's very appealing to have this challenge in front of them to engage every target, to hit every target in the time allotted.
Absolutely.
the other thing that's really cool about the Rock Hard and the other matches in the Hard as Hell series is they're coaching matches. So that brings the camaraderie even tighter, right? Now as a squad, we're engaged in everyone that's shooting. We're encouraging shooters. We're making sure they're not running by targets. If they have a gun malfunction, we can hand them another gun. We can keep them in the fight and keep them going for the entire match. So you don't have to stand around and watch your buddy do something stupid and keep your mouth shut. You're engaged as a squad, and it really brings the people together. At the end of the match, it's just big giggles. Everybody enjoys that aspect more.
Yeah, that's the camaraderie. Not only is coaching encouraged, but taunting and laughing and teasing your fellow shooters is also encouraged, and which makes it just a punch in the gut for fun. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it is great stuff. I can just hardly wait. I honestly, every evening, this is like I said before, this is my hobby. I come home from work, have dinner, and then I just open up my little folder and start working on stages, working on logistics, working on everything for the match. I love everything about it. It's a great build-up to the match, and I'm looking forward to getting started out there in early March.
Absolutely. Bruce Davidson, match director for the Rock Hard of Rockcastle Shooting Center, is coming up this March. When's registration going to open up? I know you open it up. It's kind of part of your tradition to folks that have actually participated in the match first, and then if everything doesn't fill, which typically it almost does, if not does, then you open it up to the rest of the folks.
Yeah, it's a heritage match, so I let the people that have been part of the match pre-register. Those guys, they know what it's about. They're ready to make the donations. So they get open registration about a week before anyone else, and then what's left is open for everyone else. So that should be November 1st. That's my goal. That's traditionally when I open registration is November 1. So we're looking at getting all that done, and hopefully I'll have enough spots to get some new shooters in.
Absolutely. I hope so, too, because it is something to be a part of this event, the Rock Hard at Rockcastle Shooting Center coming up this March. Check that out. Check out mission22.com. Incredible cause that this match feeds. And transition just a little bit, just got about a minute left. I don't know if you saw Diana Mueller on Capitol Hill today testifying in front of the House Judiciary Committee as they're trying to ban AR rifles and put legislation through. Did you catch any of that by chance?
Yeah, I don't watch TV, but I did pick some of that up off the Internet. I watched some of her presentation, the question and answers and such after that, and I will tell you, I will not comply.
Amen, brother. I will
right
not
along with
either.
her, and I'm sure everyone else has the same sentiment.
Yeah, she's on the headlines of just basically every major news organization. Former police officer will not comply, so I think that's cool. But anyway, it's good to have somebody like her fighting for us and all the rest of the folks out there. So, Bruce, always a pleasure to have on your show. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for your dedication, Rockcastle Shooting Center. No bigger fan of Rockcastle Shooting Center, Bruce Davidson. He always tries to help us out. So thank you, my man.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.
All right, give Christine all of our love. You're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show here on ESPN Radio. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's time for the Plum Springs Baptist Church 5th Annual Car Show, September 28th from 9 to 2:30. All makes and models, tractors, and motorcycles are welcome. Free entry, food and music, a live auction, and all donations will go to support their youth program. Plum Springs Baptist Church, 2080 Plum Springs Road. For more info, contact Jimmy Davis at 270-792-9353 or Jimmy Blankenship at 270-792-9947.
J&K Used Cars is the place to go when you need a quality automobile at an affordable price. Stop in at 670 on the Bypass in Bowling Green and see this week's special. A 2010 Toyota Highlander. Limited four-wheel drive SUV comes with third-row seating, sunroof, pearl exterior, leather interior, sport wheels, and more, only $16,995. Hurry in because at that price it won't last long. J&K Used Cars with over 40 years of serving the community with affordable prices on quality automobiles. Visit J&K on the Bypass and online at jnkusedcars.com.
This is Nate from Rockcastle Shooting Center. Did you know that one of the premier shooting ranges in the world is right here in South Central Kentucky? Rockcastle Shooting Center has something for everyone's recreational shooting enjoyment. From 3D archery to our brand new sporting clays course, handgun ranges full of steel to targets out to a mile. There's no better place to get some trigger time than Rockcastle Shooting Center. Non-members are welcome, and memberships start at $150 per year. We offer a fantastic range of firearms training and education opportunities from the most basic to the most advanced. Come see us, exit 48 on I-65, Park City, Kentucky. Visit rockcastleshootingcenter.com.
Although hunting to most of us is much more than just harvesting animals, why not better your deer herd's health with Big & J long-range attractant? Big & J is highly digestible, high in protein, and isn't full of preservatives. With Big & J long-range attractants, you're not only exploiting one of the few weaknesses whitetails have, their stomachs, but you're maximizing antler growth, improving overall herd health, and pulling deer from your neighbor's property. So whether your goals are to fill the freezer, kill mature bucks, or both, Big & J long-range attractants will stack the odds in your favor, all the while making your deer herd bigger and healthier.
This is a Morgan & Morgan consumer message.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When our clients come to us for representation, I see way more than a client. I see me. When I hear someone has a herniated disc or a back injury, I think, what if that was me? How would that impact my life? I put myself in your shoes and in your life. When I look at your family, I see my family. This outlook makes my firm think differently than most. I understand that some injuries are forever, and forever is a very long time. For 30 years, we've helped hundreds of thousands recover what they deserve. $1 billion last year alone. Every time we hear your stories, we feel like it's us. If you're injured in a car crash, slip and fall, or the victim of medical malpractice, call us because we care. Dial pound law on your cell phone. That's pound 529. Morgan & Morgan. For the people. Offices Bowling Green.
Welcome back to the Rockcastle Gun Show. It's your host, solo tonight, Nick Noble. Nate's on assignment hunting elk in eastern Kentucky, and we're here in the ESPN studios, the only gun show on ESPN Radio. Hey, check out our podcast. We've got over 130 podcasts anywhere you get your podcasts. Lipsies or whatever that's called, and iTunes is a great place. But you can download the biggest and the best names and hear them talk on your airwaves while you're driving down the road, mowing your lawn, doing whatever you're doing. You can get any of the Rockcastle Gun Shows going back almost 2.5, almost 3 years now. The Rockcastle Gun Show has been on the airwaves, and we're always good to do. So we've been talking 3-gun with Bruce Davidson, the Rockhard. So we got our 3-gun on. In a little bit, we're going to get our legislation on and talk to Lady Diana Mueller, who was on Capitol Hill today testifying in front of the House Judiciary Committee that's trying to ban air rifles. We're going to see legislation on that very soon. She did a valiant job up there on Capitol Hill, so we're getting our legislation on in a little bit. Right now, we're going to get our pistol on. We've got on the airwaves with us Mickey Petrovic, who's a great friend, our match director for the USPSA Rockcastle Club, which shoots on the 4th Saturday of every month. You can come up and shoot United States Practical Shooting Association's pistol match at our club. You don't have to be a member of the club to be there. You don't have to be a member of USPSA to be a part of it, but it's a great way to get into competitive shooting. Mickey, welcome to the ESPN studios and the Rockcastle Gun Show.
Good to be here.
Nice to have you, Mickey. Hey, you have been such a breath of fresh air and for Rockcastle in terms of this monthly match that we do, the 4th Saturdays. Tell us a little bit about USPSA for folks that don't understand it. Just a little 101, if you don't mind.
Well, like you mentioned, USPSA is a Practical Shooting Association, which include 8 divisions. People can come to the range and enjoy day at the base shooting some interesting stages. Divisions are start from the open, limited 10 production, revolver, optic carry, and we have a PCC, which stands for pistol caliber carabine, which is something new that they implement I think a couple of years ago. More and more people get involved into that kind of division, which is interesting to shoot and very fun to shoot.
Absolutely. And I think based on all those divisions that you just named, I mean, really, if you've got a pistol, you're going to fit into one of those divisions. So it's not like this is a gear-intensive thing. You have to have a specific caliber, a specific type of pistol, with few exceptions. Anything that you have, as long as you have a holster, and typically
few mags and
three or four mags, you can come shoot this match.
Exactly, you're absolutely right. It's a very, very kind of convenient for person to get into that. It doesn't require any special equipment to have at beginning, and more you get comfortable shooting that sport. It's a kind of natural instinct. People start buying more and more kind of sophisticated firearm and equipment, and it's just a kind of normal thing to be. But as a first match, it really, like you say, it's just anything you have available. All you need is a belt, holster, few mags, and come on out. Enjoy the day.
And one of the things I love about competitive shooting is that even if you don't have a pistol or a belt, a holster and some mags, most likely, and matter of fact, I can guarantee it because I'll loan you mine, you can come to a USPSA match and probably somebody will loan you the ammo and the guns to get involved. It is a very, very friendly new shooter atmosphere, isn't it?
You are 100% right. People that is involved in this sport, it's hard to find. When I say that, it's so supportive, so friendly. They don't mind to loan firearm. They don't mind to give you ammo for free for that particular day. I mean, anything that's going to make you enjoy that day and maybe hopefully come back next time with your own equipment on a belt.
I think that,
just amazing people to be with that day of the match. Like I say, it's hard to meet people anywhere else like that. It's just like a brotherhood.
Absolutely, it is. And I highly recommend to all our listeners out there in the region, and even if you're not in the region, you're somewhere else, get out to your local clubs, get involved in the United States Practical Shooting Association, go shoot some of the matches. We love nothing more than introduce new folks, even if you haven't been around competitive shooting. Maybe you haven't really even been around guns. There's always things. So we'll do a kind of a new shooters briefing right before early, but registration typically starts at 8 o'clock. We'll start shooting around 10. And Mickey, we'll actually have all the new shooters that maybe aren't familiar with the rules as much, and give them a little brief before, so they're really comfortable about how things are going to happen.
Exactly. Usually when I post match on a practice court, there's a short guideline how new shooters gonna be accepted that day. I usually put like a 9:30 is a new shooters meeting, 15 minutes. I give them a brief explanation of the rules, of the range rules, of the USPSA rules, recommend what is most important at that day. It's a safety, of course, and highlight some points that they need to follow. And, of course, 15 till 10, we usually have an all-shooters meeting. They're going to be more likely introduced to that particular match that day. They can have a 5 stages walkthrough before we even have that meetings. Stages are usually built 2-3 days before match. I'm doing that right now. I just took the break.
Yeah, you're on the range right now setting up the match. I love it.
I'm on the pistol base right now, putting the stages up. So, like I say, we get busy week before match, and, all guys are more than welcome to come early before shooters meeting. They can check out the stages. They can figure out maybe what they're going to do that day. And like I say, after shooting meetings, we go hammer down 10 o'clock every match, which is 4 Saturday in a month. It'll be year-round. We will not make breaks or during the winter months. Hopefully, I have some ideas for this year and next year. Hopefully, idea will grow to the plan. And I believe if everything work, that plan might result in some extra events that I'm planning to put here.
I love it. Mickey Petrovic, he's our match director for our USPSA club, the Rockcastle Shooting Center, and we do a 4th Saturday of every month. Hey, folks, if you don't want to shoot it, just come up this Saturday morning, get there around 9:30. You can check out the match. Mickey, we're going to let you go back to work. We're going to go pay some of our sponsors, but thank you for coming on the show. Let me tell you, Mickey is a great stage designer. We'll have 5 stages. Typically, one's a classifier, which ranks you in the country in terms of how you shoot. The more classifiers you get under your belt, the better you'll know kind of how you fit in, but they're all standard stuff. But, Mickey, you do a great job. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate
it.
All right. We'll see you guys this Saturday for the USPSA monthly match, fourth Saturday of every month.
Sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. We'll be ready.
All right.
Hopefully see you all here.
All right. We'll do it. Mickey, thank you very much.
One.
You listen to the Rockcastle Gun Show. Very special guest coming up right after this. Diana Muller. She's been on Capitol Hill all day testifying under oath in front of Congress. You're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show.
Although hunting to most of us is much more than just harvesting animals, why not better your deer herd's health with Big & J Long Range Attractant? Big & J is highly digestible, high in protein, and isn't full of preservatives. With Big & J Long Range Attractants, you're not only exploiting one of the few weaknesses whitetails have, their stomachs, but you're maximizing antler growth, improving overall herd health, and pulling deer from your neighbor's property. So whether your goals are to fill the freezer, kill mature bucks, or both, Big & J Long Range Attractants will stack the odds in your favor, all the while making your deer herd bigger and healthier.
If you're a single man under the age of 35, you'd probably like to know what the ladies are looking for on an online dating site. A guy who had a few drinks and later got pulled over for buzzed driving. See, that could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And doesn't a guy who's back living with his parents but calls them my roommates just scream Mr. Right?
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is Nate from Rockcastle Shooting Center. Did you know that one of the premier shooting ranges in the world is right here in South Central Kentucky? Rockcastle Shooting Center has something for everyone's recreational shooting enjoyment. From 3D archery to our brand new sporting clays course, handgun ranges full of steel to targets out to a mile. There's no better place to get some trigger time than Rockcastle Shooting Center. Non-members are welcome, and memberships start at $150 per year. We offer a fantastic range of firearms training and education opportunities from the most basic to the most advanced. Come see us, exit 48 on I-65, Park City, Kentucky. Visit rockcastleshootingcenter.com.
Hey, it's Nick Noble with the Rockcastle Gun Show here. We're talking about swagger bipods. Do you want just your average barrel rest, or do you want to shoot with some swagger? Introducing the swagger bipods. They expand your shooting zone with swagger, the all-terrain hunting bipod. After more than 100 years, finally shooters have a bipod with patented, flexible, hyper-extending telescoping legs that give you the agility like never before. So get rid of stiff legs and get the bipod with infinite maneuverability. Swagger, the bipod that moves. Welcome back to the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN Radio. It's your host, Nick Noble, here. Nate's off chasing elk in eastern Kentucky. He's a punk, but we're here doing the work. And we've been getting our 3-gun on, and then we got our pistol on. Now we're going to get our legislation on. I can't tell you how excited I am to have on this guest who is no stranger to this show. And I don't know if I have Lady Di and her awesome husband Ryan on the phone, but I know I've got Lady Di. Diana Muller, welcome to the Rockcastle Gun Show.
And we are 100% from this side, brother.
There you go. We got both of them. So I just happened to be watching national television today, and I just happened to see some people get, sworn in front of a House Judiciary Committee, which was hostile territory as it relates to the Second Amendment. I've never seen anything quite like it, but I will tell you, Diana Muller, you are a rock star. And you're trending all over the place. I saw you on MSN. I saw you on Fox News. I saw you all over the place. And I just can't believe that you've got time to talk to the Rockcastle Gun Show here after your big day on Capitol Hill. Thank you.
You are getting the scoop. For my first interview after, I talked to a couple people after the hearing, but you are my first interview after we debriefed and just
had a margarita.
Yeah, I think, or several. I would have been having one while I was in that committee hearing. If I were you, I'd have a red Solo cup or something. Di, what was it like being in front of our legislators? This committee, this Judiciary Committee, is literally getting ready to They've already put some bills out there. They're putting through legislation that's going to potentially ban the air rifle, what they call the assault, and that's air quotes on assault rifle. What was it like being there? What was it like being sworn in? You're no stranger to the Second Amendment and you're the founder of the DC Project, which brings 50 ladies from 50 states to Washington, D.C. every year to meet with legislators, invite them out to the gun range. You're a professional three-gunner. Both of you are. You're advocates. You work with the National Shooting Sports Foundation. I mean, you're all over the map. You're a police officer in Tulsa, Oklahoma for years and years and years, retired from there. What was it like going behind the enemy lines is what I'm going to call it?
Well, honestly, it was an honor to be there, and it was, I tried to take a position of I'm happy that you are listening to me as a dissenter, but I felt the weight of the magnitude of the situation. I mean, I am speaking basically on behalf of all of my community that I know of, and probably the millions of gun owners that are out there in America. So I definitely felt the weight and the pressure of wanting to do them right.
Well, and I think you did that, and I think you've got a couple hashtags that came out of that are going. We'll talk about that in a little bit, which was really cool. And I'm watching Facebook blow up. I'm watching all these things. Ryan, what was it like being right behind her? As everybody's calling you the bodyguard, but you're off her left shoulder. You're on camera a whole bunch. I saw Amy. I saw a whole bunch of the DC Project ladies back there. Ryan, what was it like being in the crowd? And there was protesters. Capitol Police had to take them out. I mean, it was a crazy day. What was it like being in the stadium seats for that?
It was definitely a crazy day. And as for the bodyguard comments, I was decently confident that she was going to be safe, so that wasn't too much of a worry. I got this. But from a personal standpoint, I was just really proud to be there and see her confronting basically the masses that were stacked against her. She's worked really hard for this. This is something she's very passionate about. And it was honorable for me, too, to just be able to sit there and watch it all unfold.
Yeah. It was an honor. And I didn't watch most of it. I actually listened to it. There's a C-SPAN actually has an app. And they switched from C-SPAN 1 at one point to C-SPAN 3, and I thought I'd lost it because they went to some other bozo hearing or whatever. And but I caught back up. I only missed about a couple minutes of it. But I listened to the entire thing as I was working all day. But Lady Diana Muller, tell us in a nutshell what's getting ready to happen from a legislation standpoint. What's at stake right now?
Well, last week or two ago, they've already taken up red flags, universal background checks, and maybe one other option. But they've passed that, and now they're looking at an assault weapons ban similar or worse than the one from 1994. And yeah, it was definitely a little charged in there. I feel like one of the things I'm most proud of is that I got to talk about the things that the firearms industry is doing,
Absolutely.
doing something, in reference to all the cries of, you have to do something. And when they say that, they want to be safe, but they think that they're going to be safe by another law. And time after time, we see that laws are not the answer. If that were the case, like I said today, Chicago, L.A., Washington, D.C. should be the safest places on the face of the earth. So my position was that, gun-free zones are where 98% of these mass murders occur, and where, an armed society is a polite society. So why are we sitting here talking about, it's Nevada's fault because California can go over to Nevada and get these magazines or whatever it is that they're demonizing, but Nevada doesn't have those problems, it's just like talking to a kid or somebody who just doesn't understand or doesn't want to understand, and just trying to be patient and respect be respectful and get your point across.
Yeah, and I think you did a wonderful job of that. And the young lady from the Heritage Foundation, she did a fantastic job. You want to talk about the cards being stacked against you. I believe that they had 4 or 5 witnesses, they called you all, esteemed witnesses of different backgrounds. One was a former ATF agent and Secret Service guy, big anti-gunner. I can't believe I think you had to sit next to him. And then we had the chief of police from Charlottesville, Virginia, and you just had all kinds of crazy stuff. So the cards couldn't have been more stacked against you, with Nadler kind of running the show there as the chairperson, and a daunting task, and just so bulletproof, no pun intended. But some of the misconceptions that were just regurgitated and puked out during that about semi-automatic weapons, assault weapons, all these different things they were mind-numbing. I mean, what were some of the biggest things that you saw in terms of just misconceptions and things like that, lady?
Well, they did have their weapons of war moment. One of them called it weapons of mass destruction, and one didn't think that civilians could even have fully automatic. And so I feel like I got to do a little bit of education out there. I get to throw out some really knowledge bombs.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, that's I have to take a position of maintaining a conversation with these people, or we just go from one side to the other and we take our corners and we prepare to fight. I want to hold this country together and educate them, and really I feel bad for them. I feel bad that they are so scared and that they don't think that there's anything to do besides legislate morality. And there is something that they can do. They can take, they can be their own first responder. They can, they played that video that whomever put it out about the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to school. And I'm like, that's terrible to do to your kids. But I'm telling you that there's a piece of me that says that is the most education that kids are going to get out of how to survive a horrible incident like that. I mean, I would have never thought to tie my sweatshirt around the doors so they couldn't get in. So on one hand, I think it's horrible that they're scaring the kids, but on the other hand, that was almost an educational piece.
Right. Well, I didn't look at it that way. So I listened to it, so I didn't get to see the video of it. I just listened to it. I was rolling my eyes the whole time I was listening to it, but it was crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that 4 years ago, I had this idea of people going to Washington, D.C. and meeting their legislators as gun owners, and now we're 4 years later, and I'm sitting in front of the Congress testifying. So I want to thank you for all the support that you've given Ryan and I, and, we've talked about the D.C. Project a lot on your radio show, and that's, I appreciate that. And you believed in us from the beginning, and here we are kind of making our mark out here and trying to do good work, trying to put in the work.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I'm very proud. I'm proud of both of you for everything you do. Ryan, this question is for you because one of the things that came out in the testimony today under oath was, I believe it was the police chief from Charlottesville, nice young lady that had some really good experience and things like that, but she made it very clear. As a matter of fact, she got called to the mat. And the congressman, I forget his name, the Republican congressperson that was kind of calling her to mat and making sure that he understood that her testimony was, and he gave her the chance to clarify it. But she made it very clear. And this is what the whole Second Amendment community is worried about. It's one thing to say, I'm afraid of these black guns and these assault rifles and all this stuff. But it's a very slippery slope because in the testimony today, Ryan, it came out that she wanted everything banned that could possibly, I forget the exact terminology she used, but anything that could hunt a human. Yeah, to hunt humans. There you go.
Any gun that could be used to hunt humans should be completely banned. And I think that's this trend that you're starting to see is from the left, it used to be kind of a haphazard dance around what they're actually thinking response to the questions of what are your intents for the Second Amendment. And I think that we're starting to see what they truly want to do when you hear O'Rourke talk and you hear the chief of police talk. I mean, how scary is that as a gun owner to hear, yes, we want to come take your guns. No, you should not have any gun that is capable of hunting humans, which is all guns.
Every gun.
And I
if it shoots a bullet.
I think she realized that maybe she shouldn't have said that, but the fact being that she did say it.
Well, and to me, I mean, because I like to, when I have debates, I like to use logic. And actually, it was one of the most truthful things that came out today, because I've always had the position that legislating new laws, we have tons of laws on the books, and and things, tragedies happen, so we can't legislate morality like you said, Diana. But I think the only true anti-gun argument is full-blown confiscation, because there's over 300 to 400 million guns. Over 100 million people own guns. They have them in their homes. And you cannot say, I'm going to ban AR rifles today and from this point forward, and say you're ever going to make anything. So the only true argument, logical argument, is take all the guns away. And I think we're starting to see past that, to your point, Ryan. And what do you think, Lady Di?
I concur, and we kind of talked about that today. So I'm honestly glad that our audience is hearing that, because that, it is not a conspiracy theory.
No, it's not. I mean, they're willing, waiting, poised, ready to take our guns, and that's not what the Second Amendment is about. So it's just incredible. So you are also part of a really cool project, and I always get real nervous when big media companies get into covering the gun issues for or against and that kind of stuff. But Time Magazine, you were part of that. You were on the cover of Time Magazine here in the last year. And then you went and I think you put up the giant, incredible photographer. I forget his name, but they took both sides of the gun debate and took photos of them. And it was this incredible just collage of both anti and pro-gun folks. And you're a part of that. And I think that kind of piece, it really gets people talking and having good conversations. And they did a pretty good job with that, didn't they?
They really did. The artist's name is JR, and he's from France. And he has done an amazing job of looking at it from the middle of the road. He wants to know the left, he wants to know the right, and he puts the piece together, and it's up for an Emmy. I think the Emmys were recently, right? I haven't had time to even look, but I don't know if it won or not, but I hope it did, because it was definitely the best thing that Time has put out, and basically giving firearms owners a voice. So if anybody listening hasn't seen it, I would suggest that they go to time.com, and I want to say it's Guns in America. Just look up Guns in America, and it's a really cool piece, because Time did an awesome job of basically what we did was they gave us a microphone. They said, "What's the Second Amendment mean to you?" There was no interview, there was no leading questions, there was no agenda, and we got to say our piece. So you can listen, you can watch that deal, you can hover over it with your mouse, and then click on me. You can click on Scalise that was killed or shot in the baseball deal a couple years ago. You can click on Gabby Giffords was there, Alyssa Milano. So all of these different voices and all these different stories from the Second Amendment are in that timepiece. It's really, really neat.
Yeah, no, that was really, really cool, and I love those types of conversations are worthy to be had. These hacked partisan conversations and people trying to make sound bites for CNN News, maybe not so much. One of the things you got into today, and I'd like you to just expand on that a little bit, and we just have a few more minutes left, but you got into, and really well done, and a matter of fact, I forget the name of the Congress lady on the Democratic side, but she said, I didn't know about that program, I'm going to look it up. But gun owners and the gun industry is doing a lot for gun safety, and the last thing that we want on this side of the aisle is to have any more tragedies happen, but we have educational programs in place. Talk about a couple of those.
Yeah, that was my my big thought last night as I was redoing everything and looking over everything, I was like, you know what? I always hear do something. You know, the cry from the anti-guns is do something. And I was like, we are doing something. And these are the things that we're doing. And I was like, oh, there's my hashtag, doing something. So from all of the gun crowd, I'd like for everybody to start hashtagging doing something by, first of all, let me talk about the programs that we are doing something. The Eddie Eagle, the Project Child Safe, the Kids Safe Foundation that just got into Bass Pro and Cabela's, and then the School Shield from the NRA and Faster Saves Lives, a safety school program. And then suicide prevention, the Walk the Talk America. I mean, these are initiatives, if you heard my testimony today, these are initiatives that are driven by our industry. And if they really wanted to make our country safer and our kids safer, they would fund these programs.
100% right. Yeah. And I don't see that coming out of the other side. Moms Against Guns and all these different, Noble Foundation. I couldn't stand hearing my name associated with something like that. All these different things. I mean, it is crazy.
Basically, all you hear from them is what they want to take away next. They're going to take away something to regulate, post-tragedy happening. That's a reactionary deal. And they want to take away something that was used previously. And then the next time something else is going to be used, what are they going to be left with?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a slippery slope, folks. Get involved in the Second Amendment. Get involved with your local and your state and your federal legislators. Now, Lady Di, Diana Muller, Ryan Muller is our guest. Lady Di testified in front of Congress today, the House Judiciary Committee. They're banning AR rifles. The whole thing was about AR rifles and the ban to try to get that in place. The hashtag do something was not your only hashtag, and it's actually not the one that's circulating around all the national news media. The hashtag that's circulating around everything is that former police officer will not comply with any kind of AR ban. So hashtag I will not comply is being bantered around everywhere now, and I absolutely love it.
Well, that wasn't planned. It was just kind of an honest response to, when is it that law-abiding citizens, stand up and say no more? Like I said, the bump stock thing, you've already made me make the decision between my bump stock or being a felon. So at what point you're going to take my AR-15s? So it was just kind of an organic moment.
It was an organic moment, and it was, I'm not going to use the other O word, but it was awesome. You did a great job with that. But guys, Lady Di, Ryan, thank you so much for doing what you do. I know you've got to be whooped. I know you've had a long and stressful day. You're still in D.C. Surprised you're not over at the president. I'm surprised we got you on the radio. So
I think be watching Fox and Friends in the morning. I have to call them after I get done with you.
All right. Well, really cool. Well-deserved. You need to be on Fox and Friends, and I'm sure that won't be the first appearance you're going to be making after this. We kind of got unlucky today. There was such a huge news cycle today with everything going on with the Ukraine and Trump and a deal. But it is what it is, and you did a fantastic job. I'm so proud of you. Proud to call you a friend. Proud to call you guys part of the Rockcastle Shooting Center family. You guys shoot under the Rockcastle logo all the time, and you're doing great things out there in the world of Second Amendment. So thank you.
Hashtag shoot the rock.
Hashtag shoot the rock. I like it. Lady Di Muller and Ryan Muller are our guests. And guys, you're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show. This has been a good one. God bless America. God bless the Second Amendment. And we'll be back next Wednesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget to download our iTunes podcast. You listen to Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN Radio.